My charming and fair-minded Libra friend, hello and welcome. My name is Mina, and I'm here to offer you a 3-card reading exploring the themes of you, your path, and your potential. I invite you to consider what the reading reveals about possible challenges, opportunities, and personal growth for the week ahead. Take a deep breath, rest your mind, and let's see what the cards have to share with you today. On Libra, you have always been finely attuned to the subtle shifts in your environment, but there is a particular weight in the air this week. It's not loud or dramatic, but lives quietly in the space between words and glances, a tension that feels like a held breath. You may sense yourself holding back, measuring thoughts before they leave your lips, as if every interaction is a test of balance. There's an undercurrent of wanting to be understood without having to over-explain, yearning for clarity while fearing that your truth might disrupt the delicate peace you've worked so hard to keep. Maybe you find yourself sitting with questions about loyalty, fairness, or boundaries, but the answers feel just out of reach. In moments alone, a quiet ache surfaces. Perhaps it's the exhaustion of always being the one to smooth things over, or perhaps it's the silent hope that someone else will finally see what you've been carrying. This is not the kind of tension that demands immediate action, but it shapes the way you listen, respond, and move through your days. The feeling is real, a sense that something unspoken is waiting to find its voice. You move through your week with an air of careful composure. The Queen of Swords appears here not as a figure to be defined, but as a mirror to your internal state. There is a sharpness to your awareness right now, a mind honed by recent experiences that have called for discernment. You may notice your patience for half-truths or vagueness is wearing thin. It's as if you've been quietly cataloguing every contradiction, every moment when someone's words didn't quite match their tone. This doesn't make you cold. If anything, it makes you more sensitive to the emotional currents swirling around you. You're seeking clarity, both from yourself and from those close to you. There's a determination in your posture, a willingness to ask the question that others avoid, even if it feels risky. Still, you're not interested in confrontation for its own sake. Instead, you're searching for a space where honesty can breathe, where you can state your truth without fear of tipping the scales too far in either direction. There is a subtle loneliness in this clarity, as if you're standing on a high ledge, seeing more than you wish you did. But there's strength in it, too. You recognize the cost of silence, and you are less willing to pay it. This emotional stance is not loud, but it's unwavering. The people around you may sense the shift. Your tone is measured, your words more intentional. Even when you withhold, you do so with purpose, protecting the boundaries that you have so carefully drawn. Underneath it all, there is a quiet hope that by trusting your own perception, you can finally create the space for a conversation that has long been overdue. As this inner clarity grows, it naturally begins to shape the direction of your week. The way you see yourself and your boundaries nudges you to act differently in moments that once felt routine. Small gestures, pausing before responding, allowing silence to fill a room, or choosing not to smooth things over, create a gentle but persistent pressure. The space between what you feel and what you express narrows, and the atmosphere begins to shift around you. It's as if your inner stance is quietly steering the events that follow. Now, the King of Cups enters the story of your week, and with him comes a new kind of tension, one that blends compassion with the weight of responsibility. The atmosphere becomes more charged as you feel the push and pull between your desire for harmony and your need for emotional authenticity. You may find yourself in situations where others look to you for calm, expecting you to mediate or soothe conflict, even as you grapple with your own complex feelings. There is pressure here not just to keep the peace, but to do so without sacrificing your own emotional truth. Conversations may feel loaded, with layers of meaning beneath the surface. You sense the unspoken needs in others, and part of you wants to tend to them, to offer a gentle hand or a patient ear. But this week, there's also friction. The part of you that has always prioritized others' comfort is met with a growing insistence on your own needs. Perhaps you notice your own emotional reserves running low, or catch yourself hesitating before offering reassurance you don't truly feel. The world around you seems to ask, can you remain steady without absorbing everyone else's storms? The events that unfold might not be dramatic, but they are meaningful. Each conversation, each choice, is an opportunity to test the balance between empathy and self-respect. The momentum here is not about rushing toward resolution, but about allowing the complexity of your feelings to coexist with your role as a peacemaker. The friction comes from resisting old patterns, gently refusing to carry what is not yours. In the process, you discover new depths to both your compassion and your boundaries, realizing that true steadiness comes not from denial, but from a willingness to sit with discomfort, both yours and others. What unfolds from here is not set in stone. Your potential, as always, is shaped by how consciously you engage with this moment. The possibilities ahead depend on your willingness to meet your experience honestly, even when it is uncomfortable. The growth that awaits does not arrive automatically. It asks for your presence and your courage to stay with what is real, no matter how tangled it feels. The Ten of Swords makes its appearance not as an omen, but as an invitation to recognize what has reached its natural conclusion. There is a quiet but powerful sense of release here, a moment when something long carried is finally put down. This is not a sudden ending, but an honest acknowledgement, a subtle shift from endurance to acceptance. You may feel a wave of exhaustion as you realize just how much you've been holding, how many times you've bitten your tongue or softened your stance to keep the peace. But in this recognition lies a gentle freedom. The story you've told yourself about always having to be strong, always having to mediate, begins to loosen its grip. There is space now for something new to grow, though you may not yet know what shape it will take. The invitation here is not to force closure, but to allow the ending to be what it is. In doing so, you make room for a different kind of strength, one that doesn't require constant vigilance or self-sacrifice. Growth in this context means honoring your limits, letting yourself rest, and trusting that clarity can coexist with tenderness. It's a quiet turning point, a breath drawn after a long silence. You discover possibility not in dramatic change, but in the simple act of admitting what can no longer be sustained. Looking back across the week, you can see how each part of your experience threads together. The sharp clarity of your inner state, reflected in the Queen of Swords, sets the tone for everything that follows. Your boundaries and discernment shape the path forward, drawing out both compassion and friction as you navigate your role in the emotional landscape of those around you, the essence of the King of Cups. The pressures you face are not external alone. They echo the internal work you've been doing, the slow but steady shift from self-silencing to self-respect. And when the week brings you to that quiet threshold marked by the Ten of Swords, you recognize the relief that comes from letting go. Each card, each moment, asks you to trust your own perception, to honor the quiet knowledge that has been building inside you. There is no need to force answers or rush to conclusions. The reassurance comes in realizing that you are already moving through this process, step by step, breath by breath. The tension you feel is not a sign of failure, but a signal that you are nearing a point of necessary change. And within that change there is comfort, a reminder that even endings hold the seeds of new beginnings. You do not have to carry it all alone. By leaning into your own clarity, by allowing yourself to feel both the weight and the relief, you find a steadiness that can't be shaken by circumstance. The week ends not with a dramatic resolution, but with a quiet sense of alignment, a gentle return to yourself. Actionable insights for Libra this week. Let yourself pause before responding, especially when you feel tension rising. Try naming what you feel, even if only to yourself, and notice how your body softens. Make space for a quiet moment where you don't have to hold anyone else's emotions but your own. Spoken word affirmations to repeat aloud for a more positive mindset. I am allowed to name what I feel. My boundaries are worthy of respect. I can let go without losing myself. Today, I trust my own clarity. And now, dear friend, I thank you for giving me your time. I truly hope I have given you something helpful in return. Goodbye and good luck until next time.